What is up, my dudes? It's Pac-Man here, and today I wanted to bring you guys a little tutorial on how to die less and win more gunfights. Siege is a super complex game with a ton of strategy that goes into each and every round. There's 7 rank maps, 28 bomb sites, hundreds of callouts, and millions of ways that each round can play out. And although knowing all of this strategy matters, it really isn't going to make a difference if you're always dead. So that's why I decided today that I'm going to make a video on how you can give yourself a better chance at winning your gunfights and overall just dying less. Now, for the purpose of this video, I want to stick to mechanics and things you can do when you're either in a gunfight or about to be. So that means today I won't be diving into things like, operator selection, strats, or anything like that. I'm purely going to be talking about this from the perspective of in-game situations and what you can do to give yourself a better chance at staying alive. So just before we start, I wanted to announce the winner of the competition I ran for my subscribers during the week, and that winner is Alfie Brown. Congrats, bro, and I hope you spend your credits wisely. This competition was only open to subscribers, so if you don't want to miss out on the next one, or if you just want to keep up to date with all the tips and tricks I share, be sure to smash that sub button. But without wasting any more time, let's get straight into it. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to talk about today is basically angles and understanding what angles you're exposed to at a given time, okay? And all of the examples I'm going to try and give today, I'm going to try my best to show you examples of them in-game. I'm going to use most of them from my most recent Climb in the Ranks video. I actually talked about how I was going to make this video, so I thought it kind of would fit if I used clips from that. So I should be able to give you some actual examples. But the first thing that I want to speak to you about today is understanding angles and understanding what angles you're exposed to when you swing or when you're just, standing normally or whatever. Okay, so let's say we're attacking Armory Throne Room, and I want to try and take Throne. So when I come out here to take this gunfight, what angle am I exposed to right now? What massive angle am I exposed to? I'm exposed to a Throne, right? So, yep, there we go, Throne, Armory. So I want to take Armory, and but I swing this door, I'm exposed to Throne, right? And so that's just one example of many. And then if I go out to swing on this side of Throne, I'm pretty sure is this side. What side of Throne am I now exposed to? I'm exposed to that side of Throne. A peek on that side. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, when you're taking fights, you always want to try and make sure that you're covered from the areas that you're going to be exposed to. So try and isolate angles so that you're not exposed, not like here, where if I'm trying to take that same fight, now he can poke from this side or poke from this side and he's going to kill me. I'm out of cover, I have no cover. So you want to try and make sure that you're covered up and you're isolating off angles and you're clearing angles one by one, right? As best you can. You just want to try and be away from exposure, okay? And I've got a good example of this from when basically I was defending as Bandit. Straight away, the opposing team took open this wall, and then Maverick came and opened a little Maverick hole similar to that here. My teammates started going down. I just stayed crouched right on this angle, holding this Maverick until he peaked, so that I could take the kill, and I wasn't exposed to all the pressure that was coming from this side, even though a few of my teammates were going down. Stayed composed, and I'll show you how it played out. Okay, we are gonna get pinched here hard. Okay. One down to maintenance. Alright guys, the next thing I want to speak to you about is basically being ready to flick and not being complacent when you get a kill. Okay, I've spoken about this in the past in one of my common mistakes videos, but it is super important and it will stop you from dying pretty frequently, so I think it's relevant to put into this video. So let's say that you're thinking that there's someone going to be in this hallway, right? They're Armory Throne Room again. You're thinking that this is going to be someone either bottom yellow or just in the long end of the hallway, right? Maybe it's a 1v2 or 1v3 or 4 or whatever, but you're pretty exposed to being swung on from multiple places. But you've heard a shot from here, so you take the corner, you get the kill, and then you should turn around and start to pre-fire or start to at least aim down at the commonly swung spot. Now, that's probably the right way to take it, right? Or one way that you could take it. There's numerous ways. But what I'm trying to get at is don't get complacent. Don't take this kill and then start reloading and walk back this way. okay? Because that's a fast way to get swung on and murdered. And it goes across the board. Whenever you're in a gunfight, you just always want to be, so, you know, I'm fighting someone long here, you know, whatever, fighting someone long. You don't need a pre-fire necessarily, but you always want to be expecting another swing, because at the end of the day, if they don't swing, fantastic, you know, well done, you got away with a kill, or you did some damage, and you're alive, right? But if you take this gunfight and then just start to reload, and then he swings that corner there, you're dead. So would it be better to take that gunfight and then potentially hold that angle, or, you know, take that gunfight, try and fall off, or, you know, always be expecting another swing. Don't get complacent. Again, I'm going to show you another clip of when it's especially prevalent when someone, like, if someone comes from this angle, like, let's say we're defending this site and someone pushes me from cafe, it's very likely there'll be another one in cafe, right? Because people don't usually push one at a time. They push in groups of 2 or 3. So, you know, you kill someone here, you better be ready for another person to swing from cafe. I'll show you an example, so hopefully you can get a better understanding. Is that the drone hole, was it? Nice, bro. All right, guys, this next tip I have talked about again in the past, but again, it is prevalent. A lot of these tips are things that I'll say over and over, but God, they're important. They're super important, okay? And this tip is basically be very cautious with sprinting, okay? There's 2 parts to this. Number 1, do not sprint around corners like this. If you just, unless you are 100% confident that there's no one there, don't sprint around corners just la-di-da-di-da, right? Because you will get murdered. First of all, you're loud as, and you know, there are times where you should sprint, but you are very loud when sprinting, and it's a fast thing. If I hear someone sprinting, I'm gonna aim at where they're coming from, right? Or where I hear that sound coming from. I swear that I think there's someone, you know, I'll aim it. So that's number 1, just be very cautious of sprinting, because like I've talked about in the past, look how fast I start shooting to ADS when I'm not ADS, right? So look at these 3, no, first of all, what I'll show you is I'll show you sprinting. So look how fast I can shoot. See that lag time there? All right, let's do it again. There's that lag time, there's that half a second in lag time. Let's go from non-ADS to ADS and shoot. Not bad, but you miss a bit of accuracy at the beginning, right? And that's if my crosshair placement's on point, right? So if I'm like this, you know, it's a little bit uneasy. In comparison, then I've only got 6 bullets left to that, right? That's faster. It's instant. There's no lag period, right? So obviously you don't sprint, but also I'd be cautious with, like, this isn't too bad because you can just kind of with an SMG you can kind of just quickly snap, but you want to be cautious with just walking around like un-ADS'd as well, okay? Because you're not prepared. If someone is to swing, you know, they're gonna have an advantage there to someone that is this. The optimum way is to just be ADS'd, taking corners, okay? Always at head height and be leaning into your corners. Right, so that's the proper way. Just be cautious with not sprinting, and always be ADS. I'll show you an example of me doing it correctly so that you understand that I was ready to take the gunfight and the other person wasn't. Again, it sounds like. Already taken out the cams. Okay, that's 1. That's one of their top fraggers. All right, guys, this next part's kind of difficult to speak about, but it's something that I do, so I thought I'd throw it in here. And so now that we're not ADA, we're not sprinting, and we're not ADSing, you know, unless you're doing it for a specific reason, because I do it sometimes. But now that we're ADSing as we go, what I want to speak about next is basically keeping yourself tight to angles and kind of showing as little of your body to the angles that you're working against as possible. So it's kind of a mixture of a few of the things we've talked about today. Knowing what angles you're exposed to, cutting off angles that aren't relevant, that you're not trying to clear down, being ADS, right? Like, it's a few of these things that will stand guard, right? It's a little bit harder to talk about, but imagine, like, look at this. So if I want to go into initiation, right? So I'm doing what I said. This is what some people will do that have a good understanding. They kind of come through the door like this, and they'll keep aiming. There's nothing inherently wrong with that, right? So you're doing the things that I said, but you're probably just not executing on it as well as you could. So what I'm trying to say is, in comparison, this is the way that I will take these angles. So I will just always try and keep myself as small as possible, right? So I'm using this as cover now from the door, and I'm just holding him for a swing, and then I'm looking this way, and then when I come through the door, I'm using this as cover, and I'm going up against it, and then I can swing out like that. Right, I'm always trying to keep myself as close as I can to the angle and trying to keep my body as hard as possible to hit. Keep yourself tied to angles. All right, guys, the next thing I want to talk about today is basically crouching into angles or crouching out of angles, okay? So it's kind of, this one's more relevant to an actual gunfight. It's going to kind of help you be a harder target to hit, right? Which is pretty similar to what we talked about throughout this video. It's going to keep you alive more. So what you want to do, right, is let's say we're trying to fight someone on that head glitch. So number one, like I've spoke about this a few times, you want your crosshair to always be lined up with that person's head, right? Headshots, I was going to make a point about headshots, but I've spoken about it so many times. Always aim for the head, do not aim for the body. Miss 5 shots, die 100 times until you learn that. Never aim for the body, always aim at head height. I'm telling you guys, it will win you so much more gunfights. But that's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here is I'm talking about crouching in or crouching out of it while shooting, basically while taking your shot. All right, so we take a quick peek. We see he's there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm either going to come out shooting while crouched and then come out of the crouched back standing and change my QE. Right, change my leaning stance, and I'll do that all in one fluid motion. Right, so it'll be like kind of like this. Like that, right? Something along those lines. That's one way to do it, where you go from crouch, you come into the corner crouch, and then come out of it standing up, still shooting. So you're spraying down the entire time. Now, the other way to do it is to start standing and then finish crouched. Both will work just as well. It depends on which way you're leaning, and you know, if you're just trying to be as unpredictable as possible. And for me, it's just habit, whatever just feels right at that time. Sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes I'll go like that. Just whatever feels right, whatever feels natural at the moment. So what you want to do is you want to, so basically crouch in and then come out. So what it looks like on their screen is to just see, so let's say you come out crouching, they start to aim down, but then you come out of it. If they don't hit that headshot straight away, they're now shooting you in the chest. And like I said, if you're always aiming for the head, you're going to have the upper hand. You're going to be able to get the kill. Same thing if you come out standing and then pop into a crouch position. They're going to be aiming at your head, and then they're going to be shooting over the top of it. So you want to kind of, like, that's that whole crouch peek meta, right? Like, I used to be a mad crouch peeker. Is what it is. Like, you know, like, I'll take the heat when there's something that is a solid mechanic that's going to win you more gunfights. I'll do it. I want to win gunfights. So back in the day, I was bopping around the whole time, but I still do it to an extent. Like, it's an important factor, and everyone in the higher ranks will do this. So there's nothing wrong with it. You want to be crouching in and out, right? Or standing and then crouching, right? And you can bop up and down, so you can do it more than once. You can kind of go. If you want to, you can be crouching in and out, like a little crouch peek. It used to be way more prevalent. It's still prevalent, and it will win you more gunfights. It makes you harder to hit. So there you have it, guys. Those are some of my best tips for dying less in your rank matches. As I said at the beginning of the video, Siege is a very complex game with a lot going on in each round. So because of that, I couldn't really fit all of the tips I would have wanted to into one video. But if you do enjoy this video and you want me to make a part 2, be sure to let me know in the comments and I can do it. And as always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out way more than you can imagine. But without wasting any more of your time, I will see you in the next one. Peace.